Welcome to North of the Broad. Erin Witt has joined us. She's an account executive with CT Lowndes Insurance. Good to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today we're going to focus on homeowners insurance and what it really covers, and specifically does it cover flood, but just what does homeowners insurance, what a policy, what does it cover?
Yep, so
Erin.
A homeowner's policy covers the dwelling, the structure that's on the property. There's no coverage for the land itself, and then any detached structures on the property. A standard homeowner's policy form is going to cover for losses from fire, lightning, theft, and then because of where we live, you want to make sure that the homeowner's policy has wind coverage. So any damage to your home from wind or hurricane, wind-driven rain is also important. And it falls under that wind coverage as well.
Does it cover the inside of the home, all of your furniture, everything that's not actually attached?
Yes. Yes. So a homeowner's policy will also include coverage for your personal property.
Okay.
Anything that's in the house not permanently attached is considered personal property. There are some limitations with that as well, for things like jewelry, furs, sometimes silverware even can be a limitation. So if you have any type of valuables, artwork, if you're a collector, always check your policy to see if it includes coverage for that as well.
So why doesn't a homeowner's policy cover flood?
Yes.
You have to get that separate, which is it's like kind of a hassle a little bit.
It is a little bit of a hassle for sure. A standard homeowner's policy doesn't include coverage for flood damage, and flood is any rising water, so coming from the ground up. It is separate, unless occasionally there are a few companies that will endorse a homeowners for flood insurance, but it is separate. And always just look at the limits on the policy. So standard FEMA is going to provide $250,000 in dwelling coverage, $100,000 for your personal property, which for most homes here, that's not nearly enough to rebuild them if you did have damage from flood. I think most people think, if we have rising waters, we're going to have a lot of mold damage, but a large flood could also wash a home away too.
So when someone is looking for a homeowner's policy and a separate flood policy, give us some tips. What questions should we ask?
Yes, always ask about the deductibles. You're typically going to have an all peril and then either a wind and hail or a hurricane deductible. Sometimes you'll have one of those or two, but make sure it's on there and make sure wind is not excluded from the policy. Also, make sure you are getting quotes for flood. A lot of times people believe that if a mortgage company is not requiring them to carry flood, that they're not in a flood zone, which is not true. It just means you're in a preferred risk. So you're less likely to experience a flood event, but you could still have damage from flood. So always be on the lookout for that. And then if you are getting quotes for flood, just make sure that you're also getting replacement cost coverage quotes for that as well.
Very good. So speaking of flood, hurricane season starts on June 1st. We're hoping for no hurricane. No hurricanes here in the Lowcountry. But what should we do to prepare? We do need to be ready.
Absolutely. So some ways that you can just protect the home and make preparations is to trim back your trees, make sure there's nothing overhanging your home. If there's a dead tree on your property, go ahead and cut it down or trim it back. Definitely just clean up the outside of your house. In the event that we do have an impending storm coming, if you can put coverings over your windows, take any furniture off the front porch, planters, anything that could fly in the air and cause damage that way. Move your cars to Highland or take them with you. Make sure you have an emergency preparedness box.
And a plan.
And a plan. Yes, absolutely, because they come fast and it causes a little bit of chaos.
Well, always great information from Erin Witt with CT Lowndes Insurance. I think your headquarters is Charleston, but you're located right here in the Beaufort area. So
that's
good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back with more North of the Broad.